guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about Classically Abby once more. I didn't really know if I was going to discuss Classically Abby again, mainly because I'm pretty sure we disagree on a majority of things, so it would be boring to continue to just say, no, I don't agree. But she somehow appeared on my Twitter timeline with just a little clip of a video of hers, and what I saw in that clip immediately angered me, or not angered, just like frustrated me, because it's a topic that matters to me and it's a topic that I often see used as kind of like a buzzword topic, but there's, I think, a general misunderstanding of what it all means. And when I say what it all means, I'm talking about female empowerment and how to define that. In Classically Abby's video, it seems, well, we'll get into it in a second. First though, I did want to thank our sponsor, NordVPN. A VPN is a virtual private network, and that means you create a secure connection online. Using NordVPN means that I can browse the internet safely, as Nord has all of your data safe behind a wall of next generation encryption. On top of this, NordVPN has a strict no logs policy, meaning they don't track, collect, or share your private data. Right now, you can get a huge discount on a 2-year plan if you go to nordvpn.com/readytoglare, and when you use my code readytoglare, you'll get a bonus gift which will be anywhere between 1 to 4 free additional months. It's risk-free with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. On top of this, with just one account, you can connect up to 6 devices, so everything is secure. While NordVPN is securing your online safety at home, it's also important to remember that when you go out and you're connecting to public Wi-Fi, whether it's a bookstore or a coffee shop, people could be tracing you and tracking your activity if you are not using a VPN. Aside from the safety reasons that I mentioned prior, I also use NordVPN in order to watch shows, movies, and even just to check out the catalogs of shows and movies from other countries on other platforms that I may not be able to access in the US. The cool thing is you have over 5,400 servers to pick from and 59 countries. So you can pick pretty much anywhere in the world and you're there with NordVPN. Again, go to nordvpn.com/readytoglare and use code readytoglare for your bonus gift on a 2-year plan. Thank you, NordVPN, for sponsoring this video. Okay, so let's just get into Classically Abby's video, which thankfully is only 4 minutes long. And the video is titled "Thought Shit is Just Shit," and "Thought Shit" is a song by Megan Thee Stallion. And then she says, Megan Thee Stallion is not a symbol of female empowerment.
Okay guys, let's do it. Let's talk about thought. Okay. We're really doing this today. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about Megan Thee Stallion's thought. Y'all, this is not a video you're gonna wanna watch with your kids around. I'm not planning on putting any of her video into this video because it is just straight pornography, but the things I'm gonna be talking about are not gonna be necessarily appropriate for children, so just keep that in mind before you watch this today. Thought makes me laugh, and I think it's time for us to break it down and recognize why it's ridiculous. So before we get into today's video...
Okay, I'm gonna skip the whole part where she says like, subscribe, her newsletter, whatever. So far, I think it's funny that she had to preface this with "don't have your kids around." I know this is an argument that's been used a lot against female rappers specifically, saying, oh, I wouldn't want my children hearing that music, oh, I wouldn't want my child to see that. And that's totally fair. You can decide what you want your children to see or not see. But the funny thing is that people are acting like this is a brand new thing. Like there haven't been male rappers for years upon years, decades, singing about sex, having very explicit lyrics. These are not new things. So when people act like this is a brand new phenomenon, especially specifically with women, I just find it eyebrow raising, because it's like, okay, then what about, you know, Snoop Dogg? What about T.I.? What about all these other people who in the past have had a bunch of hit songs that are very explicit? And yet I don't remember that conversation really being had. Maybe it was being had more, but because the internet wasn't as advanced and as developed and as interactive as now, it was less out there in the world. Also, the fact that she said that it was straight pornographic, there's a difference between something having sexual themes and something being pornographic. Now, You can decide if you want to think that's pornographic, that's fine. But again, we return to that we have decades of male rappers and the videos were not cartoons. Like, the videos were men with women doing things. So like, this is not a brand new thing, which is why it's so confusing to me.
So now, I think it's time we talk about some thought. Let's talk about Miss Stallion's little speech, which is pretty much lifted directly from Fight Club. So it's really the only part of the video that merits any discussion, because the rest of the video is just them twerking their butts at the camera and the senator running around upset. So let's just focus on her wonderfully written speech. She says, "Look, the women that you are accidentally trying to step on are everybody that you depend on. They treat your diseases, they cook your meals, they haul your trash, they drive your ambulances, they guard you while you sleep. They control every part of your life. Do not F with them." Miss Stallion doesn't seem to realize that criticizing one woman for her videos that are pornographic and which make women into sex objects is not the same as criticizing women as a whole.
Yes, obviously criticizing one woman is not the equivalent of criticizing women as a whole. There is something to be said though. When you criticize one woman for her particular actions, say twerking at a camera, you might just be criticizing Megan Thee Stallion in this particular case. But the reality is that that also translates to anyone else who twerks in front of a camera, anyone else who does any kind of sex work, really, because she continues to use the word pornographic throughout the video, you'll see. So obviously there's a disdain for sex work there. So when she's mentioning twerking at the camera or shaking your ass at the camera, you're critiquing Megan Thee Stallion, sure, but the reality is that that translates to a lot of other people. So while, yes, it's a critique on one woman, the implication is still there. You're critiquing any person who thinks this is empowerment. You're critiquing any person who is okay with this, who supports this. So it's, yes, you're critiquing just her, but indirectly, it's not just her. Also, I have to say, I know we all already know this, but the condescending tone really makes it so much worse, because these smirks, this kind of holier-than-thou attitude, it's very frustrating to watch along hearing just opinions that I disagree with personally, but being smug about it just seems entirely unnecessary. To be fair, I give her props for being this smug in this short of a time, because it's only like 2 minutes in and I'm already annoyed.
Because you know who really is lumping all women together? Miss Stallion. Yes, you got it. She's the one who's saying all women are the same. All women who do all of these jobs are just like me, the pornographic star. But let's be real. The women who do these actual jobs, which by the way, I would guess that the majority of trash men and night guards are not women, are not porn stars. Because that's really what Miss Stallion is. She's a porn star. If she didn't twerk her butt in her music videos, I don't think she'd be a famous rapper.
So in this particular instance, it's hard for me to tell if Miss Classically Abby decided to ignore the nuance or simply did not see it. Because when Megan Thee Stallion says, you know, we're the women who drive your ambulances, we're the women who cure your diseases, we cook for you, blah, 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 that whole thing, that's not to say we, as in every single woman is like me. It's to say we are strong women who are very capable of doing jobs and breaking into fields that used to and still don't really have many women. It's underlining the strength of these women. It's not saying all of these women are identical and are therefore the same. It's also, though, not mutually exclusive. These women could very well be ambulance drivers and also like twerking, like Megan Thee Stallion, or they might actually do porn on the side, who knows, but it's not mutually exclusive. And what Megan Thee Stallion was trying to say, in my opinion, was that all of these women, what they have in common is their strength, their resilience, and the fact that they're badasses, basically. But that's not to say all of them are identical copies of each other. And I think it's a little obtuse to think that that's what she was trying to say. Going back to the sex work shaming, I guess, the constant referral to Megan as a porn star or doing porn or pornography is just really weird, and I find it to be a very weak way to try and insult her or to try to make an argument. Because, okay, she's obviously a musician, she's a rapper, that is her career. But even if she were a porn star, okay, and like, what is the problem? Like, that's the thing that I don't understand, is like, she's trying to use it as if this was like 30 years ago and calling someone a porn star was still an insult. Granted, there are still some bigoted people, but sex work now is more accepted than it has ever been. And so even if she were on OnlyFans, even if she did do porn, it's like, that has no bearing on her value as a person or on the value of her words. So to continuously mention that, I think only weakens her argument, though I think she thinks she's making this great, hilarious point. And again, we go back to the argument I made before, which is having sexual themes in rap is not new.
So let's be honest about it. Women are not one monolithic group. I personally don't want to be lumped in with Miss Stallion. Women are not defined by their sex appeal. I choose to make my self-worth about who I am and what I achieve, not about what my body looks like for someone else's pleasure. So, Miss Stallion, while you are busy being boring, getting offended by the people who think you have reduced womanhood to what our holes can do, I'll be over here enjoying my pride and dignity as a woman who really understands my own value. And to be clear, shaking your at a camera is not an argument. So that's today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had fun recording it.
So this last bit is going to be a bit of a rant, because I think the whole central focus, aside from just like insulting Megan, classically Abby's point was to say that this isn't women's empowerment, right? And that's an issue I have and I encounter a lot on the internet that really frustrates me, because, you know, she says that she doesn't want to believe that women are one monolithic group, which I agree with. I don't think we're one homogenous group, we're all the same, whatever. Obviously not. We're all individuals, so not every woman is the same as every other woman. Wow, groundbreaking, I know. Female empowerment is also not one monolithic idea that is just sealed by one definition. For me, women's empowerment means whatever makes a woman feel strong, proud of herself, all those good things, okay? And that can be the definition, for me anyway. The way that definition is interpreted is entirely up to the individual. For Megan Thee Stallion, if twerking in front of a camera is empowering for her, that is empowerment. If for someone else being modest and dressing a certain type of way to not show their body, that makes them feel good, that makes them feel strong, that is empowerment. So it all comes down to the definition's interpretation, not the definition. So just because someone doesn't fit your interpretation of the definition of empowerment, like Megan obviously doesn't fit classically Abby's, it doesn't mean that it's not empowerment by definition, because the beautiful thing about female empowerment is that each woman decides for herself what is empowering for herself. And I think that's the point she's missing, as if it's this one thing. As if female empowerment has to be this one sole, very specific thing, when in the reality is, it is very much like style. You get to decide your own style and that's it. And it's the same with empowerment. You get to decide what makes you feel good and what doesn't. And I think it comes down to that, but I think it often is treated as this one thing and it can't be anything outside of that. I'm confused at the lack of nuance of this video. Again, it's only about 4 minutes. It's about, I think, 3 minutes of content, but it's surprising to me that there wasn't more discussion about what actually empowerment is, though actually maybe the reason why is because she knows that then she'd find that she wouldn't really have a leg to stand on. Anyways, guys, you can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and let's get right into the